Jacob Fagerstrom, and I'm a student researcher at Eastern Michigan University working with the Huron River Watershed Council. Behind me is the Peninsula Dam, which is located on the Huron River. The Penn Dam is an inactive hydroelectric dam planned for removal in the upcoming years, and this is just one of at least 97 dams on the Huron River system. Of these dams, only a small handful actually produce any energy, while most are unneeded blockages along the river. With the few dams that do produce energy on the Huron River, it has been found that this green energy isn't nearly as good as we previously thought. It turns out that dams can have a much larger environmental impact than previously considered. Dams cause significant degradation to river ecosystems by restricting the movement of organisms, preventing natural nutrient and sediment flow, significantly altering habitats, and producing greenhouse gases. Today, I want to cover what we know about greenhouse gas emissions from dams, and then what we're doing to learn more about dams on the Huron River. So first, as water flows into the impoundment, sediments and organic matter from upstream are going to be deposited right in front of the dam. The slow water flow caused by dams also causes warmer temperatures at the impoundment. This also prevents efficient reoxygenation behind dams.
If we were to take a cross-section of the dam, this is what we would see, with sediment and organic matter trapped behind the dam wall. And then above the dam, you can see the excess plant growth due to slower water flow and increased organic matter.
Both the organic matter and slow water flow behind dams helps fuel decomposition, which consumes oxygen in the water, creating anoxic zones. And then while microorganisms would typically produce carbon dioxide, in the low oxygen conditions, microbes end up preferring methanogenesis, where they produce methane instead of carbon dioxide. And methane is one of the focuses with the Peninsula Dam because it's an extremely effective greenhouse gas, where one molecule of methane can trap 30 times more heat in comparison to carbon dioxide. So even though carbon dioxide is more abundant in the atmosphere, for each molecule of methane, there's a much larger effect on global warming. So methane is typically released through diffusion from the surface. But behind dams, large amounts of methane can also be released through ebullition, or more simply, bubbles that come up from the ground when methane production is high. Finally, methane can be released through plant tissues. So what are we doing to learn more? Research on dams and emissions, it's fairly new, and most of what we know comes from research on large dams with reservoirs. And while this research is an interesting start to fully understanding the effect of dams, it only represents a small percentage of dams in the United States. A majority of dams in the US are less than 15 meters tall, and unfortunately there's a lot less research on smaller dams like the Penn Dam. To get a better estimate of how much methane is actually coming from dams, we're going to capture some of the gases behind the Penn Dam. And to do this, we're leaving out chambers on top of the water to measure the total methane released into the atmosphere. And this will show a better picture of the actual effect the Penn Dam has on greenhouse gases. From our preliminary data, we have found that methane and carbon dioxide levels are significantly higher around the Penn Dam, all the way up to the Superior Dam farther upstream. And this is a concern because the Penn Dam is an unneeded structure on the river. To combat the issue of greenhouse gas emissions, we can continue to research dams and start to remove any old and unnecessary impoundments. The Penn Dam is in the beginning stages of removal and will provide the perfect project to see how emissions change following the dam's removal. This would fill a huge gap in knowledge that a lot of other studies have missed. With many old dams that have outlived their usefulness, a removal project like this will not only decrease greenhouse gas emissions, but also provide an opportunity to restore habitat and connect river segments together. While there's still a lot we don't know, we hope to share our findings on emissions soon. You can follow this project and more on the Huron River Watershed Council's website and social media pages.